Hey, what's up, everyone? Jonathan Bailor back with another SANE show, and very excited. We actually discovered a bunch of shows that I recorded by myself as a little bonus experimentation right before the Calorie Myth book came out on January of 2014. We just remembered we had these shows and we never aired them. So we're going to air them now. Exciting. So what will follow in this episode is one of these previously hidden pre-Calorie Myth shows. So a little bit dated, but still valuable. I hope you enjoy it. And remember, stay sane. Welcome to the Smarter Science of Slim, the scientifically proven program where you eat more and exercise less to burn fat and boost health.
Eat smarter, exercise smarter, live better. I am so ready for that.
Hey everybody, Jonathan Bailor back with another Smarter Science of Slim show. Very excited to be with you today because wanted to start off with a question, a great question that I was asked by a listener. And heck, it might take all of our time here because it is such a great example of how deeply ingrained these calorie myths are in our minds and how militant we have to be to free ourselves from this calorie mythology, because it is permeated. I continue to find, I've been doing this for quite some time, I continue to find ways that it has jaded my mind to think of the body as a mathematical equation rather than a biological organism. But enough of this lead up. Let's go ahead and just get into it. So the question was great, very reasonable question is, what is the minimum number of calories that a woman should consume, woman or man, let's say, what is the minimum number of calories a person should consume while trying to lose weight in order to stay healthy? Very reasonable question, seemingly. But hold on. Let's take a step back. If we have an individual who has 100 pounds of excess fat on their body, let's use the traditional mathematical model, and let's say that a pound of fat consists of 3,500 calories. So if we have an individual that has 100 pounds of excess fat on their body, they have 350,000 calories available, quote unquote, available for fuel, even if they never ate anything. So the point I'm making here is we got to take a step back. Someone says, what's the minimum number of calories a person should consume while trying to lose weight in order to stay healthy? What do we mean by consume calories? Because if we have an individual that has 350,000 surplus calories stored on their body, why are they ever hungry? Think about this like from the brain's perspective. And from a biological perspective, if your job, you're the hypothalamus, you're in the brain, your job is to keep an organism alive and fed and nourished. And you see, before that person even opens their mouth to eat food, that 350,000 units of energy are already available to you. Why would you make that person hungry for additional food? They already have 100 pounds of food stored on their body. Especially when their friend over here that doesn't have 100 pounds of excess fat on their body, maybe they're not hungry. And in fact, they're less hungry than that person that has 100 extra pounds of fat on their body. This seems obvious, but really think about it for a second. A person who is overweight or obese, why are they ever hungry? Doesn't the body know that they have food available to them? And let's say, for example, that a person who's overweight or obese eats, let's say they need 2,000 calories, and let's say that they eat 1,000. I would never recommend that. Let's say they did that. And when I say eat, I mean food that passes through their lips. Why would they be hungry? Why wouldn't they just get the 1,000 extra calories from their hips? Like, food, energy doesn't have to pass through our lips. If we have excess fat on our body, it's sitting right on our hips and in other places. This is a key point. And it shows a giant crack in the calorie mythology. And that's that our body has to be in some way dysregulated. Like, there has to be something fundamentally disconnected or dysregulated in a state of obesity and in overweight. And it has nothing to do with a moral failing or a willpower failing, just like we don't tell someone that has heart disease or that has some sort of like asthma problem, oh, you just need to you have asthma, you should breathe less because that's what's causing the problem. No. There's a problem with the system itself, because think about the system, the metabolic system, the system that regulates energy balance. Again, someone has 100 pounds of food stored on their body. Why are they ever hungry? Why do they need to eat at all? Why is their body driving them to eat? Someone might say, well, of course, they need to eat essential amino acids, and they need to eat essential fatty acids, and they need to eat vitamins and minerals because calories are not enough. And that's obviously correct. Absolutely. But why do they continue to be hungry beyond that point? Beyond the point of getting the necessary amino acids, vitamins, and minerals? Hunger for purely calories. The reason is that this homeostatic weight regulation system, just the same way everything else in our body is regulated, like our blood pressure, our blood sugar, our body is trying to balance us out. I call this our set point weight. Many other people do too. The technical research literature calls it the homeostatic regulation of weight, or the lipostat. Biological organisms work to achieve balance. A person who is storing 100 pounds of excess fat on their body and continues to be as hungry, if not hungrier, than someone who is carrying 0 pounds of excess fat on their body, has a body and a brain and basically a biology that is balancing them out, that is working and is defending to keep them 100 pounds overweight. Because why else would they be hungry? That's a big deal. If a person who has 100 pounds of excess fat on their body has a brain that is going to do everything in its power to keep 100 pounds of fat on their body, why are we asking questions like, what is the minimum number of calories that person can eat to stay healthy? That seems to assume that we can overpower our brain. That despite the fact that the brain is making this person hungry, despite an overabundance of calories already available to them prior to them opening their mouth at all, they're still hungry. That's the question is not, how much can we starve this person to fight against a brain which is working to maintain 100 extra pounds of fat on their body? That's the question. The question is not how few calories can we skate by? How long can we tolerate hunger? How much can we try to beat our body into submission? I'm sorry I'm getting amped up, but it's so wrong and it's so disempowering, and it's nefarious. It trivializes this brilliance that's within our body, which is really, think about that. Why do people who are struggling with overweight and obesity continue to be as hungry as they gain weight? It's because their body believes, for lack of better terms, believes that they should weigh that amount, that it is healthy for them to maintain that level of excess fat, and that their body is now fighting losing that fat, despite the fact that it is seemingly not needed. We might think it's not needed, but if our brain thinks it's needed, we're in a bad place, or at least we're in a bad place until we refocus our eating and exercise efforts not on how little food we can consume and how much exercise we can do in an effort to beat our brain into submission, which will never work. It's like trying to not go to the bathroom. Like, eventually you're going to go to the bathroom. You can try to not sleep. Eventually we're going to have to sleep. We can try to not blink. We can try to not breathe. We can try to not eat. It's never going to work. Never going to work. Body's in control. But if we see that there's a dysfunction there, and if we appreciate obesity as a disease of this automatic balance system, much like we know and accept that diabetes is a disease of a homeostatically or automatically balanced system for blood sugar, right? When our blood sugar goes up, our body does stuff to bring it down. If it goes too low, our body does stuff to bring it up. Fat mass works the same way. The mechanisms have been clear in the scientific literature for decades. It is completely unambiguous and non-controversial in the sphere of metabolic researchers. But sadly, again, that's not where we're getting our information from, is it? We're getting our information from people who are asking questions like, what's the minimum number of calories we should eat to stay healthy? You will never make a brain that thinks you should weigh 300 pounds stop thinking you should weigh 300 pounds by starving it. Ever. That's like trying to cure allergies by breathing less. Like, it doesn't change the system. We have to change the system. We have to fix the brain. What's actually happening here, what's actually happening in a person who's holding on to 100 pounds of unnecessary body fat is their body believes that's healthy. Their body believes that that's what that person should weigh. But why? Well, the reason why is because this regulatory system has become dysfunctional. There's inflammation in the brain. This is what's been demonstrated in laboratories for years now. There's inflammation in the brain, specifically in the hypothalamus, which controls our weight. There's dysfunction in our hormones. Our insulin levels, our leptin levels, our sex hormone levels are all messed up. And then our gut flora, the bacteria in our gut, and our gut is our second brain, right? Our brain helps us to interact with the external world. And what other part of our body has huge contact with the external world? Well, our stomach, right? We actually take the external world into our body in our stomach. So our stomach is really our second brain. So we have this system of our gut and our body communicating with our brain through our hormones. And that system can be dysregulated. Just like the system for blood sugar balance can be dysregulated, we call that diabetes, and just like the system for blood pressure balance can be dysregulated, and we call that hypertension. It's not about starving that system, and it will never be about starving that system. So the question is not, what is the minimum number of calories a woman or man should consume while trying to lose weight in order to stay healthy? It's why is their body driving them to eat more calories than they need? Why is that happening? That is the question. The day we can answer, why is the person who's struggling with their weight being driven to continue to consume excess calories in the face of a surplus of calories already existing on their body? That's the problem. And it's not like they're, oh, just try harder. No. Their brain is not doing what it should be doing, and it's not their fault, because the reason this brain has become inflamed and their gut bacteria has transformed, and the reason their hormones have become dysregulated is because they've been fed a load of calorie myths. They've been told to eat whatever you want as long as you don't eat too much of it. And because of that, we end up eating edible products, processed starches, processed sweets, sodas, trans fats, edible products, things that you cannot find in nature. These things are not food. They're not what our body and our metabolic system are able to handle. It would be like putting kerosene in your car's gas tank. Yeah, it might not break it right away, but the system is going to break down. If you stick paper towels down your sink, eventually the sink is going to overflow. It doesn't have anything to do with the amount of water you're putting into the sink. If it's lost its natural ability to react to more water in with more water out, which is what the body should do, right? More food in just gives us more energy, makes us burn more calories, and it makes us fuller. We don't need to worry about our weight. That's how it worked, right? That's how it worked for every single person who ever lived prior to the previous 3 generations. The earliest data we have around obesity rates come from the early 1900s and show us that obesity was sub 3%. Sub 3%. Why? Well, why not? That's the question. Like, see how backwards this is? Why not? Every animal in nature, when left in its natural environment to consume the natural things that it is designed or evolved, depending on your beliefs, to consume, automatically stays slim and healthy. You do not see very many diabetic dogs. You also don't see too many overweight wolves because biological organisms seek to maintain balance. Someone who has 100 excess pounds of fat on their body has a brain which is seeking to balance them out. It is seeking to achieve energy balance while maintaining 100 pounds of fat on their body. That's the problem. The question is not, how few calories can they eat? Because frankly, according to that calorie mythology, they shouldn't have to eat any calories. Like, if it's just about calories, like seriously, all the traditional calorie people out there, if it was just about calories and just about starving ourselves and just about exercising more, and it's just that we're not trying hard enough, why do people who are over fat ever get hungry? And I know you're not going to say it's because they're weak, because hunger is there's no weakness. That's like saying, why do people feel like they have to go to the bathroom? Why do people blink? Like, if we get hungry, it's because there's something going on subconsciously. Like, we don't choose to be hungry or full. It's not something we have conscious control over. There's, of course, influences, but fundamentally, it's an automatically controlled function. To all of you people out there who are telling the 70% of Americans who are brilliant and smart and capable and are not eating an excessive amount, because the data actually show that overweight people do not consume significantly more calories than individuals who are not struggling with overweight. That data is quite clear. And in many cases, the most heartbreaking scenario is you have overweight individuals who are doing exactly what this question asks. They're trying to minimize their caloric intake, and they maintain overweight in spite of that, and then they feel helpless, and then they feel broken. To all of you calorie people out there, the people that are perpetuating these calorie myths, and I apologize for calling you out, but this really breaks my heart, because we're breaking people's brains and we're breaking their hearts, making them feel inadequate. When if what you are saying is true, if it was just about calories, answer me this. A person who has 100 pounds of excess fat on their body has 350,000 calories already available to them. Why are they hungry? Why do they get hungry when a surplus of calories is already available to them? Why doesn't their body just start burning the fat? Why doesn't it eat lunch off of the stored fat from their hips rather than craving food through their lips? And the reason for it, friends, and as soon as you can wrap your head around this, and I know this is a big departure, and I wrote a whole book on it called The Calorie Myth. We've got a bunch of other information for you online, but as soon as you can wrap your head around this, you will be freed. You will be freed from these calorie myths, and you will no longer believe that you need to starve or deprive a system that has become dysregulated, a set point that has become elevated, but rather you know that you can heal that system, you can lower the set point, and you can make your body work to balance you with no excess fat, not no fat, no excess fat on your body, just like your body is currently working to balance you out with excess fat on your body. And if that sounds too good to be true, just think of your friend that eats whatever they want, doesn't exercise, and stays slim. I'm knocking things over. I'm getting so excited here in the studio. What about all those millions of naturally thin people that eat whatever they want, don't exercise, and stay slim? Well, their body, they're genetically blessed. Their body continues to work to balance them out around a slim set point in the face of whatever quantity of calories they throw at it. And while we may not be as fortunate, we can certainly use high quality food and high quality exercise and an abundance of it. Not how few calories we eat, how few calories can we eat, but rather how much non-starchy vegetables, how many nutrient-dense proteins, how much whole food fat, and how much low fructose fruit can we use to heal our biology, to put out the inflammation in our brain, to re-regulate and heal our hormones, and to grow the bacteria in our gut that are indicative of health and slimness so that our body can get back to the state it is supposed to have by default. And that is working to balance us out around a slim and healthy set point without us trying. When we eat more, we burn more and we become full. And then we don't get hungry until we actually need food because we're eating food, because the system itself is healthy. It's not about eating less. It's not about exercising more. It's about recognizing the innate brilliance within any biological organism. And that brilliance is its innate need to balance. It's called homeostasis. We all learned about it in high school biology. We just need to be reminded of it. And we need to remember that we're brilliant. We're not broken. We're beautiful. We're not inadequate. And our body doesn't need to be trivialized into a mathematical equation. We're much, much more complicated and much, much more powerful than that. And if we eat smarter and exercise smarter, we will absolutely live better without ever having to think about the minimum number of calories we should consume, because our body will take care of that for us. Remember, eat more and exercise less. Just do that smarter. I'm Jonathan Bailor. Chat with you soon. Wait, don't stop listening yet.
You can get fabulous free SANE recipes over at carriebrown.com.
And don't forget your 100% free eating and exercise quick start program, as well as free, fun, daily tips delivered right into your inbox at bailorgroup.com. That's Bailor group.com.